Alright. So yeah. There's a stream. Game audio is working. And party audio is working. Good, good. Everything is working as it should be. Alrighty. As per normal, just need to sit around, wait for a bit, wait for everyone to show up. Ready for this round of the championship. Alright. Still got a few more that need to turn up. Hopefully we should have a full field for this event. Some people struggling to get in. Fernando Cat. That's a name. 'Let's see here. Who are we waiting on? Oh, Galloway. The two Alpines. So that would be Everingham and Rockford. One of the McLarens, that would be T-Mac. He switched his PC off accidentally before joining the lobby, so might take him a little while to get in. And one of the Williams cars, that would be Jinbin. Other than that, everyone should be here. There's Everingham. Three more. Okay. The T-Mac might be a little while. Jinbin's on his way, so hopefully he won't take too long. A few drivers absent for this one. Most notable one is Popsy and the AlphaTauri. Our championship leader after the first two rounds is going to be absent for this round of the championship. Bit of a shame, really. He's driven quite well after rounds 1 and 2. So hopefully he'll be back ready for round 4 in 2 weeks' time. Just waiting on T-Mac now. Once he's in, we can get going. Oh, hold up. Apparently there's a game update. $12.5 gigabytes? Well, shoot. Well, we got 19. Yeah, well, we've already got people in, so we might as well get on with it now. Unfortunately for T-Mac, he just can't join us. And I don't know if Reserve would be able to join if they get the prompt for the update. Oh, shoot. Alright, so we're getting a last minute replacement, which is Blake Stevenson. Now T-Mac's saying he might be able to make it. Man, we're going around in circles. And we haven't even started qualifying yet. Ah, the drama begins and we haven't even turned a lap. Gotta love this. Someone's dropped out. Well, see, Joker, that might not happen because there's an update, so I don't know if we'll be able to actually get this going or not. Someone's left. Who was it? It was Rockford. So Rockford's DC'd. So yeah, we're in a colossal pickle at the moment because we've got this lobby up and we're set and ready to go. Codemasters decided to release an update probably by the turn of the hour, so about 4 minutes ago. And apparently this update is pretty big. According to T-Mac himself, it's about 12.5 gigabytes. So it's a fairly sizable update. Tell you what, if Stevenson is reserving and he hasn't got the game turned on, he'll just get the update and prompt that he'll have to do. Yeah, as Seb rightly points out, if anybody crashes, like DCs from the lobby, they won't be able to rejoin. So, did he get in? I can't see him. Through qualifying, yeah, perhaps. But considering I think Plebs has made the call that a reserve is going to be stepping in for T-Mac, I think. To be honest, I don't know. I'll just relay what people are saying in the Discord. So Stevenson's joined. And Captain Liddell is given the ready up signal, so that's a call. Stevenson is a late minute replacement for T-Mac in the McLaren. So we got a few reserve drivers. We've got Stevenson, we got Eckham here, we got Fernando Cat, that's a great name. Is there any more? Oh yes, RBR in the Alpha Tauri. Those should be the 4. But yeah, that's a shame for T-Mac. Doing pretty solidly in the races so far. I'm afraid these things happen from time to time. Hopefully everyone stays in the lobby all the way throughout this round of the championship. So hello everyone and welcome to round 3 of the Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event. And this time we'll be competing at Circuit Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. one of the oldest tracks on the calendar, having been constructed in 1948. Circuit Zandvoort has been the sole home of the Dutch Grand Prix ever since the very beginning of the Formula One World Championship in 1950. But even with the circuit's lengthy racing heritage, it would find itself absent from the Formula One schedule for almost 40 years. But in 2021, with the ever-increasing popularity of one Max Verstappen, the circuit would make a triumphant return with an updated design on which we race on today. The modern-day layout measures up at 4.26 kilometers and consists of 14 corners and 2 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1 and Turn 11. Outside of these areas, overtaking difficulty will tend to skyrocket. It's a fast, technical, old-fashioned racetrack with grass and gravel traps lining the edges of the circuit. Qualifying well and gaining as much track position as possible will be key for achieving victory today. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a tiny bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Bahrain. Only a single incident report. It's not the incident that you think. It involves Big Al getting a fairly harsh 5-second time penalty for a quote-unquote illegal overtake. The stewards looked at the video footage and deemed that the 5 seconds was not necessary, so they removed the time penalty, and as a result, Big Al would jump up from P8 to P7 in the final results. In the Drivers' Championship, Potsy is leading the way on 47 points, followed by G-Force Crichton on 46 and Jack Humphreys on 44. As I mentioned earlier, Potsy is absent for today's race, so that's a big blow after such a solid start in the Drivers' Championship. Haas are leading the way in the Constructors on 64 points. Very healthy lead to AlphaTauri, who are on 49. Mercedes-AMG are third, also on 49 points, followed by McLaren on 41. Then Ferrari rounding out the top 5 on 25 points. That's about it when it comes to news heading into this race here at Zandvoort. We've got G-Force Nick as well as a fair few other cars out on track getting ready for their first flying lap attempts. A Haas is arriving on the back end of Nick's car. He's on the intermediate tyre. Wouldn't doubt that's actually Jack Humphreys. My ride on board with G-Force Nick, give you a guided tour of this 4.2 kilometre 14 turn racetrack. DRS open, heading down towards turn 1. You'll begin the flying lap into the best overtaking spot on the circuit. We'll brake at the 50 board, bring it down to third gear, get back on the power, head up through the gears, heading up towards the right-hander of turn 2. Down to fifth, back on the power, heading into the first bank curve, turn 3, using third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear through turn 4, sixth gear. Up into seventh, heading up towards the first sector split. We'll head into the tricky right-hander of turn 7, chucking it through flat out just after the apex. We head into turn 8 and up towards turn 9. On the brakes at the 50 board, down to third, short shifting back up to fourth as we head towards the left-hand sleeper of turn 10. Down to third, short shifting to fourth again. The car nice and straight at the exit, flooring the accelerator. We head up towards turn 11. On the brakes hard again, down to third gear. Modulating the throttle, dropping it down to second briefly before short shifting up to third at the exit of turn 12. Around turn 13 and up towards the final corner of 14. We're flat out all the way around this big bank corner as we head towards the finish line. Nick will set a 1 minute 8.342. That is the benchmark for everyone else to try and beat. Ryan Bell has just beaten it. He's done a 1 minute 8.060. He is almost 3/10 clear of G-Force Nick in P2. Reese Cohen making his way into the tricky right-hander of turn 7. Very easy to get it wrong through there. Because that's what Mr. Plevs decided. So Plevs made the decision that a reserve would step in rather than have T-Mac join midway through the session. It's his call as he's sort of in charge of the whole thing. So, yeah, that was Mr. Race Spec's call. In regards to how questionable those 5-second penalties can be when it comes to removing them, so long as you don't serve the time penalty, you can get them removed. So, but if you do serve it in the pit lane, then you absolutely cannot remove it. You can't magically have 5 seconds removed from you after you serve the penalty, even if it's unjustifiable. So, there's a bit of There's a few steps that you need to follow in order to try and get those 5-second penalties removed. But if you follow all the steps, as per the race spec rules, you can get them removed. Bags Liddell on a set of medium compound tyres. We're heading up towards turn 7. 7th gear. Drop it down to 6. Just a brief tap on the brakes. Even on the medium compound tyre, they provide plenty of grip. Around turn 8 and heading towards turn 9. We'll drop it down to 3rd gear. Get back on the power. Short shift up to 4th as Huey jumps up to P2 with a 1 minute 8.255. So almost a 10th in front of Nick, but still 2/10 behind Ryan Bell's provisional pole time. Sam making his way round turn 3. Oscar coming out of the final corner to end his first flying lap attempt. He's on the soft tyre as well. P6, 1 minute 6.648. Bags Liddell crosses the line. 9.3 as you'd expect on the medium compound tyre. Seb making his way into turn 9, dropping it down to 4th gear, getting back on the power, getting sideways as well as he rides the outside curb, heading out of the right-hander as G-Force Crichton jumps to P3 with an 8.3. Reserve driver RBR making his way towards turn 11. Definitely a potential overtaking spot into this chicane complex, but in all actuality, it is really difficult to get it done through there. Spicy's making his way back into pit lane. Big Al making his way through turn 11 and into turn 12, down to 3rd gear, modulating the throttle well, eventually reaching full throttle. RBR crosses the line, goes 8th quickest with an 8.7. Rockford has left the session, and that's probably not good news, because he will have that update thrown in front of him. Try and get back in the lobby. Big Al has jumped to P3 with a 1 minute 8.289. So that 8 flat for Ryan Bell, that's going to be a tough one to try and beat. Matt Plebs making his way onto the grass at the exit of turn 9. Not the line you want to try and take through there. Most important thing though, he's kept the car straight and he hasn't put it into the barrier as he heads up towards the final sector. Jack Humphreys is getting ready for his first proper flying lap attempt on the soft compound tyre. Gets out of the way of Matt Plebs there. He makes his way around the penultimate corner. Around the final turn, back onto the main straightaway with DRS wide open all the way around the final corner. And Matt jumps up to P13 with the 9.6. Jack Humphreys begins a lap. I reckon he's one driver who can try and challenge Ryan Bell for pole position here at Zandvoort. Out of Tarzan corner. Turn 1. Into turn 2. Down to 5th gear. Dropping it down to 3rd gear through turn 3. Modulating the throttle well, keeping the back end of the car nice and stable as Rockford has thankfully rejoined the session. Round turn 6 towards turn 7. Humphreys is understandably up by 1.2 seconds. He did his first lap on the intermediate tyre. 6th gear round turn 8. Down into turn 9. 4th gear. Doing a bit of lawn mowing. Oh, at the entry there to the corner. Got it a bit sideways as well, but he catches the slide. Keeps the car pointing in the right direction. Down towards turn 11. We get hard on the brakes here. Down to 4th gear. Clobbering over the inside curb through 11. Nice and tidy at the exit of 12. Up towards turn 13. The penultimate corner. 5th gear. Well, had a few cracks at the throttle there. Wasn't completely confident on the accelerator as we head on to the main straightaway. Humphreys will set an 8.5, so probably not the best lap he's ever done, that's for sure. A little moment in the middle sector and a moment again at the penultimate corner probably cost him a 10th as well, so he'll know that, and he's got plenty of time left in the session to try and improve. Batemate is out on track. Reese Cohen as well. He's getting ready for a flyer. Jinbin is on a in-lap. Looking at this, might go back to Reese Cohen. Currently P9 with an 8.6. Understandably, it's going to be another tight qualifying session. It's a fairly small circuit, Zandvoort. A lot of technical corners to try and negotiate, but this track's length is quite short. So understandably, qualifying is going to be incredibly tight. Yeah, that's nice to know, Edward, honestly. That's real nice. Reese Cohen making his way into turn 7, dropping it down to 6th gear. Heading into turn number 8. Using plenty of curb, keeping the car pointing in the right direction, unlike that Alpine. Who is that? That's not Rockford, so that must be Everingham, who's yet to set a lap time. Heading up towards the middle sector split, only up by 54 thousandths, so he's not going to set the timing boards alight with this lap. Be pretty close to his PB at the moment. He makes his way out of turn 13 and heading around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. Up towards the line, he will set a 1 minute 8.468. He improves by 2/10, so he found a decent amount of time in the final sector. So he did well there. Need to try and find a bit more time in the first and second sectors, though. Off the racetrack, that might be Big Al. Let's have a look. It is. He's getting ready to try and set a flying lap. Ryan Bell is on a flying lap. Still occupying pole position. No one else has gotten into the 8 flats. I reckon Bell might be able to drop himself into the 7. Let's see. He's up by 46 thousandths to the first sector as we exit turn 7. He is right on the limit there at 7 through 8. Again, using just enough curve, making sure he doesn't run too wide at turn 8. The back end stepped out briefly, but he beautifully controlled that slide as we now exit turn 10. DRS open and heading up towards the middle sector split. Clock says he's actually lost a little bit of time. He's only up now by 6 thousandths of a second. Down towards turn 13, 6th gear. Dropping down to 5th gear through the penultimate turn. And around the final bank curve, back onto the main straightaway. Will Bell improve? The answer is yes, and he does indeed drop into the 7s. He improves by just under a 10th. Rockford jumps to P3 with a 0.28. Big Al is well down, so he might go back into pit lane. Crichton, coming towards the end of a flying lap, will cross the line to set an 8 flat. He jumps to the front row behind Ryan Bell. Huey slowing down. Appears that he's just done a lap. He has used a bit of battery. I don't think he's just left pit lane, so yeah, must have done a lap. Big Al probably make his way back into the pits. GeForce Nick will cross the line, jump up to 3rd with a 1 minute 8.123. Spicy, he's on an in-lap. Eckham's on a in-lap. Humphries is still in the pit lane with a shade under 6 minutes left in qualifying. He might be leaving his very last lap right to the end of the session, Humphries. It's a big gamble to make. It's a big gamble to make. But he is running tight with time, so I reckon that's exactly what he's going to try and do. Up towards the middle sector split goes Jinbin. He's up by 0.3 of a second, so this is a considerable improvement from the Williams driver. Can find a little bit more time, he might be able to jump into the top 10. 5th gear out of turn 13 and around the final curve. Back onto the main straightaway. See what kind of time Jinbin can do. It'll be a 1 minute 8.310. He does indeed jump inside the top 10. Just in front of his teammate Seb, who is still in pit lane. What about Fernando Cat? Reserve driver in the Mercedes-Benz. Making his way out of 13. Yet to set a lap time. Matt Plevy's coming towards the end of a flying lap. Improves by 7/10. It's going to be an 8.8. Fernando Cat beginning a lap into turn 1. Dropping it down to 4th gear. Nice mid-corner rotation. Looked like he didn't quite hit the apex there through turn 1. As he makes his way around turn 3. Eventually reaching full throttle, using plenty of curve on the outside of the bank curve. Around turn 6, crossing the first sector split. 24.2 to the first sector. Apparently purple according to the minimap. Let's see what he can do. Around turn 8, 6th gear, up towards turn 9. Dropping it down to 3rd, back on the power. Car looks decently stable enough as he heads through turn 10. DRS open, heading towards turn 11. There's 3 3/4 minutes left in qualifying, so we're right at the death of the session. A lot of drivers in pit lane getting ready for their final runs. Got Rockford out on track on an out lap. Matt Plevy's on an in lap. Fernando making his way around the final corner will end his first proper flying lap attempt. It's going to be a 1 minute 9.6, slowest of all by 0.3 of a second. Rockford on an outlap, getting himself ready. Got 3 minutes left. Everyone's still waiting. Now you can see as well on the telemetry, riding the brake on the straightaway, just trying to maintain tyre temperature, getting ready for his final run. I wonder as well, will he do another preparation lap perhaps? Maybe try and reduce the fuel load that little bit more. Well, he's turned on the battery. I don't think he's doing that. I think he's getting ready for a run. Now, the problem is we're timing it at this particular point in the session. We're going to have a lot of drivers on outlaps for their final run, so Rockford might have to negotiate a little bit of traffic. The next car in front of him is his teammate, and there is a considerable gap, so you won't have to deal with it at least in the first sector, you would think, although Everingham is travelling quite slowly. Exiting turn 3, heading up towards the first sector split, 5th gear, 6th gear. There's his teammate getting well out of the way. Up towards the first sector split for Rockford. He's up by 28 thousandths of a second as he heads out of turn 7. Up towards turn 8. Crichton's been given a grid penalty. Where is he? He's at turn 3. Well, he's just been given a 5 grid place penalty for blocking a car on an outlap. Well, that's just grand. Jinbin's been given the same. Gee whiz, this game is rubbish. It is absolute rubbish. Got drivers on outlaps getting penalties for blocking other drivers on outlaps. That is amazing. Oh, as Rockford's left the session at the end of his lap. He's DC'd again. Well, shoot. Well, he's P5. That's the best he can hope for. So, couple of drivers with pens. Ah, the detail won't pop up. All right. Bell out on track. That's turn 10. Crichton just in front of him. Nick making his way through turn 11. Where's Huey? That's turn 9. Where's Al? Through the chicane. So the first driver, I think, is Nick of the top 5, top 6 cars. Nick making his way onto the main straightaway. Oscar King now given a 5. This is an absolute joke from the game, dishing out all these grid penalties. That is an absolute joke. And the problem is we can't really restart the lobby either because of the update. Everyone will have to do it. So Nick making his way out of turn 3, heading up towards the first sector split. I better keep my eyes on the Discord after qualifying for this as well. Nick is up by 1/10 of a second in the first sector. Crichton is making his way into turn 3. Bell making his way into turn 3 as well. So we'll keep an eye on the sector splits as Crichton heads towards the middle sector split. The clock says for the Mercedes driver, he is up by 3 thousandths. Bell is up by 31 thousandths of a second. GeForce Nick heading towards the middle sector split. There is traffic in front of him, but he's down. He's down by 1/10 of a second as he heads out of turn 12. There's a Williams and Alpine in front. Shouldn't impede him too much as he heads around the second to last corner and up towards turn 14, almost a tad bit wide there as Crichton's heading towards the middle sector split. Clock says he's up by 25 thousandths of a second. Bell is down by 33 thousandths. Nick goes back into pit lane, so his qualifying session is done. Spicy jumps up to P4 with an 8.2. Al responds to that. He jumps to P4 with an 8.2. Crichton back onto the main straightaway. Can he crack into the 7s? Yes, he can, but it's not enough for pole, and Bell's around at the final corner. Threw away his final flying lap attempt. Right at the end of it, there's a Ferrari off the track as well. I'm guessing that's Huey? No, it's not. It's Reese Cohen. Oh, hello. Drivers trying to get themselves sorted. Huey heading up towards the finish line. Crosses it, jumps to 4th with an 8.2. Man, right at the end of the session. What's that? 26,000 separating Huey, Al, and Spicy. And those times were set right at the end of qualifying. So there we go. Ryan Bell will start from pole position for this Dutch Grand Prix. Crichton alongside him on the front row. Now I'm going to have a look in the Discord, see what's going on. haven't seen anything yet, so I'm guessing we're soldiering forward with this. Quite a few drivers have grid penalties for quote-unquote illegal blocking, because this game is just complete rubbish. It's recycled rubbish. So yeah, fair few grid penalties. I'll shuffle the order around. So Ryan Bell starting from pole position, Crichton qualifying P2. Don't know if he'll start there. It all depends on the people in charge, whether or not we do a restart or not. Nick P3, Huey P4, Al P5, Spicy P6, Rockford 7th, Jimbin 8, followed by 7. Eckham rounds out the top 10. Oscar P11, Batemate 12, followed by Reese Cohen, RBR, Jack Humphreys down in P15, Leo P16, followed by Matt, Bags Liddell, Blake Stevenson, and Fernando Cat from the back of the field in 20th place. Alright, so it seems that we are going to red flag the start. So what the drivers have been instructed to do is stay in the lobby. Just retire the car out of the race. And that should push us back into the pre-game lobby. So... So yeah, don't retire when you're on the grid. It kicks you out of the session from the looks of things. Just get the race started quickly and have everyone retire. And then we can move back to the pre-game lobby. Yeah, I've got that. Crichton, I got that. It's always a headache with this. Codemasters really just can't help but make things difficult. Right, everyone's going to retire. We might see a fair bit of carbon fiber flying around. Yeah. Case in point. This is probably the nicest part about everyone retiring. Now there will be a few AI that don't retire, but that should be okay. It should end the race anyway. Yeah. So that was the Dutch Grand Prix. Go back. Get it done. Who ended up winning, according to the game? I'm curious. One of the Alpine. It's an Alpine 1-2. Williams 3rd. Rockford from Eckham. Oh, another podium for the reserve and Jinbin, finishing P3. Yeah, unsurprisingly, traffic has played a pretty big part in qualifying. Some drivers talking about being impeded on their runs. Obviously, we saw drivers getting rubbish grid penalties. There we are. Alright, welcome back to here. Everyone's in the lobby. Well, almost everyone. Missing a few. Just need to sit patiently, I suppose. Really not much to talk about. The grid will more than likely be set from the qualifying results. I'm hazarding a guess that all the grid penalties have basically been made null and void after what happens. So. And what do you know? Stevenson, the reserve, can't rejoin the lobby because he's now got the update requirement popping up. Well, this would be substantially less complicated if Codemasters didn't perfectly time the updates being released. They royally screwed this. Oh. Honestly, chat, don't know how many times I have to do commentary on F1. This game gives me a ruddy headache. Almost every time I hop on this thing. I only hop on this game now just to do commentary. I don't even race on it anymore. Completely fed up with it. Oh. Someone left the lobby. Who would that be? That'd be Rockford. Rockford's having a great time staying in this lobby. That's about the third or fourth time he's done that. And yeah, T-Mac can't join either because he's on a different game version to all of us. This lobby doesn't exist on his game, so... Yeah. Grid is set, ready up is the call from Bags Liddell, so we got 19. It looks like we got slightly overcast conditions for the race as well, so we shouldn't have any wet weather interference. Should. Doesn't mean we won't, so... Race time. All that the drivers are doing at the moment is choosing their tyre selection. I imagine... Oh, what would they go for? Softer? Balanced? Those soft tyres can be really handy, especially towards the end of a race. Having that extra pace, if there's a late safety car or something, those soft tyres really do make the difference, so... Maybe they go softer. Alright, drivers need to make sure they put on a setup. These guys are good enough to do that though. They don't forget stuff like that. Decide how much fuel they need in the car. Mess around with the strategy, get themselves ready. Remember as well, there's no formation lap, so as soon as the grid pops up, it's lights out and away we go. Get ourselves ready for the start of the Dutch Grand Prix. Always gonna love these lobby restarts, always taking forever. Hopefully this won't take too much longer. There we go. All 19 cars are lined up ready to run. 36 laps in front of us, 5 red lights. And we're underway here in Zandvoort. It's a nice start from Bell, nice start from Crichton, nice start from Nick as well. He's being challenged though. He's got Big Al right behind him as we head through turn 1. 3 wide action in the middle of the pack as we exit the opening corner, head towards turn 2. Side-by-side action between Al and Huey as we head around turn 3. Yellow flags are out. It's Reese Cohen. He's around at 3. Drops to the back of the pack. Bell still leads. Crichton still second. These two still side by side. Huey with the inside line is able to get in front. He takes 4th. Spicy P6 followed by Rockford, Jinbin, Seb. Ekin rounds out the top 10. Around turn 8, heading up towards turn 9. See a lot of mediums. One set of softs though. That's on Seb's car in P9. Shuffling about, moving around. Just trying to sort themselves out on this opening lap. The field's nice and bunched up. But even so, it's going to be difficult to make moves. Here comes Ekin down the inside here at turn 11. Doesn't fully commit to the move, though. He stays behind. See here with the tyres, especially those towards the back, starting on the hard compound tyre. It's quite an interesting strategy to go with. Only one driver on the softs. It's not Seb, it's Jinbin in the other Williams. Only driver on a set of soft compound tyres. Rockford closing in on Spicy. Spicy tries to shut the door. Down the inside he goes here at turn 1. Gets a nose in front. Spicy fights back. Round the outside heading into turn 2. Just doesn't have the grip. Doesn't have the position to keep the fight alive. So Rockford moves into P6. Spicy down to 7th. And Jinbin closing in. Heading towards turn 5. Up towards turn 6. Oh, Rockford closing in on Big Al down the inside at turn 7. What a manoeuvre from the Alpine driver. Sent it in. Fully committed. Got the job done. Fair play. Very early in the race. Still willing to go for those big moves. Out in front though. Clear track in front of him. Ryan Bell. Crichton just behind. 4.5 tenths behind Nick in P3. Now as much as it is a very difficult racetrack to try and pass, it's also a fairly difficult racetrack to try and pull away, as Elite Series proved on Sunday night. So although Bell's looking like he's in a pretty decent position, DRS is going to help out the cars behind quite tremendously as Jinbin goes down the inside of Spicy at turn 1. Spicy tries to counter-attack, does the over-under as we head into turn 2. Jinbin though on the soft compound tyre has the grip to battle Spicy and keep P7. Though Spicy with a brilliant run out of turn 3 takes the position back. Side by side, someone has to give in. It is eventually Spicy. He moves down to P8. Jinbin up to 7th. Seb on the back of the Aston Martin heading towards turn 9. No one going for a move just yet. It's all line astern stuff for now. Going to be like this for a while. Out of turn 10, heading down the back straightaway. DRS now available. Down into turn 11. Everybody line astern. All in one long train. Could be next to impossible to try and pass. Jinbin has an obvious tyre advantage that he can try and utilise, but that's about it. Everyone in the top 10's on the medium compound tyres, so yeah, not much difference in terms of strategy. Everyone's on the same page. Crichton 4/10 behind Bell as we head around turn 3. There won't be much difference in terms of ERS, Kebab, but I will show it anyway. Ryan Bell 94, Crichton 80. Nick on 60, he's used a little bit at the start, 40%, 4 laps, and a fair note to make as well, it is difficult to get back here at Zandvoort, unless you've got DRS, in which everyone in this train does. It is a tad bit difficult to get ERS back. Rockford's used all of his, he's down to 24. Big Al conserving his, he's almost got a full charge. 51% for Jinbin, Spicy on 65. Seb on 60, Ekam on 81, so he's saving well. Same with Batemate, Humphreys in P12 after a surprisingly average qualifying, making his way through on the hard tyre as well. 97 for Oscar, 76 for RBR, Matt on 79, Leo on 22, he's used a bit, Bags on 63, 89 for Fernando, Reese at the back after his incident earlier on 82%. Yeah, all fairly close, fairly even. Jack gets by Batemate, that's for P11 on the racetrack. Crichton just sticking behind Bell, and I imagine he'll do that for a fair chunk of this opening stint. I don't think he'll battle him too much during the opening phases of this race. Poor qualifying ACW, that's just it. Apparently he got impeded on one of his flying laps, and at the end of the session he didn't put a better lap together. That was about it. And all that traffic as well during qualifying as well. Everybody had to get themselves sorted in that, and more than likely a lot of drivers didn't get their tyres into an optimal temperature window because they were crawling around the circuit trying to give each other space, trying to work out where they needed to be. Spicy, Jinbin changing places. That's at the final corner. Seb's going to try and get involved. Sits in the slipstream of the Aston as we go through turn 1. Tarzan corner. The Williams are side by side exiting the first turn. Almost making contact as they go through turn 2. Seb moves in front. Jinbin moves down to knife. Down the inside goes Ekam here at turn 3. The Alpine gets in front. Jinbin, will he give in? He will. He'll slot in behind the Williams. Move down to P10. Now, yeah, Humphreys on an alternate strategy. I mean, it would be good for him to pick off as many positions as possible, first and foremost. But, yeah, his major stint is going to come in the second half of the race. I'll be very curious to see how aggressive he's going to be on those mediums. These hard tyres shouldn't be too bad either. That's something I remember people saying in the Elite series. Hard tyre operates quite well around here at Zandvoort, so perhaps Humphreys might be able to make up a few more positions from what you may think on those tyres. Doesn't quite have the straight line speed to battle Jinbin. Got the brakes, he's got the inside line though. Wheel-to-wheel contact at the exit of turn 1 as we head into turn 2. Humphreys with the inside line is able to move through. He's into P10. Jinbin with an aggressive strat on the soft tyre. He tried to send it, and ultimately it's backfiring. He's just plummeting down the order now. Down to P12. Could be as well that the game forced him to start on the soft tyres. I've heard of people talking about they couldn't change, like they selected certain tyre to start on, but the game gives them the tyre that's selected by default in the strategy menu. So it's entirely possible he could have got screwed over because of that, or he wanted to play aggressive and it's ultimately backfired. Did on Sunday. Fair play then. He must have been wanting to go aggressive. Crichton taking in the lead down into turn 1. Huey moving up into P3. So Huey's got a bit of work to do. He's got 1.3 seconds to the car in front. Needs to close that to within 1 second. Make sure he stays in the battle for the race lead. Crichton now in front with a bit of clear air. Ryan Bell will stay with him. Like I said before, it's almost impossible to break away. Rockford closing in on Nick. Not by enough, though, to attack into turn 7. He stays behind. Round turn 8. Oh, contact, I think, there between Rockford and Nick. And down the inside goes Al. An opportunity arises. Sliding out of the corner is Rockford. Al looking around the outside here at turn 10. The two drivers losing time to the cars in front. Al closing in. To the inside he goes. Into turn 11. He darts back onto the racing line. Didn't have enough momentum to try and get past the Alpine. Round turn number 13. Around the final corner. Bell retakes the lead at the end of lap 8. We begin lap 9 here at Zandvoort. We've got a long, long way to go. Al Rockford drag racing into turn 1. Al down the inside at Tarzan corner. Gets loose. Loses time to Nick. But importantly, hangs on to 5th place. Rockford didn't have the opportunity to try and get the place back. He's stuck in P6. He's got Spicy and Seb right behind. It's quite a tight train of cars here making their way around turn 7. You can imagine the amount of dirty air that the drivers have to deal with for the traffic around the racetrack. Humphreys closing in. Doesn't go for a move here at turn 9. Sticks in behind the Alpine here. We head around turn 10. DRS open down towards turn 11. No one really in any sort of position to attack just yet. Just a game of patience for now. Out in front though, Huey has caught up to Crichton, so we've got a 3-car train out in front. And it's almost 2 seconds back to Nick in 4th place. Crichton closing in. He won't go for a move. He'll stay behind. Al gets by Nick. So that's P4 for the McLaren driver. Now he needs to get his head down and not do that. Try and catch up to the top 3. Nick feeling the pressure, I think. Got Rockford right behind. In terms of battery, 14%. Not surprising considering he was a bit back from the top 2. He's had to spend a fair bit of battery to try and catch up. You compare that to the top 2 on 95 and on 78. It's a considerable difference. But now he has DRS as Humphreys gets by Eckham. That's at turn 10. Turn 9 rather. Entering turn 10. So Humphreys into P9. On the hard tyre as well. Yeah, they're not too bad. They are not too bad here at Zandvoort. Not bad at all. What about Big Al? 43. So he's got a bit of reserve to play with. The gap is 1.6 seconds. And you can see he's using it round the final bank curve as Rockford gets past Nick. Nick in trouble here. Like a sitting duck at the moment. Getting passed by everything. Spicy moves through. Seb closing in. There's an opportunity down the inside here at turn 1. Nick should have the traction out of the corner. And he does hang on to P7. Seb unable to move his way through. He's had a little opportunity down the inside. Couldn't quite make that work. Humphreys. Yeah, I reckon he's looking pretty good. Wouldn't discount Batemate and Oscar yet either. Got to keep an eye on those 3 on the hards. It'll be interesting to see how they play themselves in. But of course, during the second stint, although they might be on the better tyre, as I've sort of alluded to, the hard tyres aren't bad. So when they switch on to the mediums, it's not going to be terribly easy making their way through the field. Oh, Seb all over the back of Nick. Wasn't much between them there at turn 12. He was right on his rear diffuser. We head around the final corner, flashing red light on 10% battery compared to Nick on 32. Well, moving about, Seb's vulnerable, and through goes Humphries. Here we go. Humphries to P8. Eckham a bit wide. Bags Liddell moving up a place as well. That's for P16. We head around turn 2 and then into turn 3. Hugging the bottom of the racetrack. Completely different to real life. Real life, they're running it all the way around the top of turn 3. Here in the virtual world, much better to hug the bottom of the racetrack. Crichton getting close to Bell, but yeah, he's not going for any sort of move here through the middle sector. Just not advisable. He's caught up, and he's saving battery. Again, when you got DRS around here, you can save a little bit. It's just when you don't have DRS, you're kind of in trouble. Speaking of in trouble, Jimbin is rejoining the racetrack. He's dropped down to 17th, and Reese Cohen's off as well. He's playing in the sand trap. He rejoins, still well down in last place. He needs a safety car to save his race. Crichton closing in. Again, he shuts the DRS flap. He doesn't want to attack Bell. Humphries wants to attack Nick, though, down the inside into turn 1. As simple as you like, Humphries moves into 7th position. Eckham and RBR are into pit lane. They're moving on to the hard compound tyre. Bags Liddell moves in front of Leo again, so those two are going back and forth to their respective positions. Rockford behind Big Al. Rockford not with a lot of battery, neither with Big Al. So obviously Al's been spending a bit to try and catch up to the top 3, and ultimately that hasn't worked. The gap sits at 2.4 seconds, really sort of demonstrates how powerful DRS is. Even around a racetrack like this, where this DRS zone here, it's not particularly long. You've only got one major DRS zone that heads around the final corner and down the main straightaway. And that is enough to keep Big Al at bay. And he's a quality driver, we all know that. So, yeah. Maybe Al would be looking for an undercut, perhaps. Try and catch up to the top 3. That might be an option. At the moment, he's not game to pit just yet. Here comes Rockford, down the inside, into Tarzan corner. Ooh, he gets in front. Took a little bit of wiggling, but they get through. Batemate and Oscar side by side, out of turn 1. Oscar in front, Batemate down in P11 as we head around turn 3. Both of them on the hard compound tyre. Looking good. Al on the back of Rockford. As we head around turn 8. Just one long technical section from turn 2 all the way up to here, turn 10. You just can't pass. Unless under very, very special and particular circumstances. You just can't pass. Down here you can try. You have to be quite game to make it stick. But realistically, you just have to wait until the main straightaway to try and make a move. I reckon that's exactly what Big Al is going to do. Although, he can get the best of runs through turn 13. Look at Humphries closing in. Straight line speed that he's got. Crichton's taken the lead. Humphries looks, dives it in, gets it pulled up. They leave each other enough room. The avatar waves his hand about. What are you doing? Says Jack's AI. As he moves through into 6th position. Next target will be Big Al and Rockford, P4 and 5. So Seb in the pit lane. He moves on to the hard compound tyre. Humphries making his way into turn 9. He's got a lot of pace right now, Humphries. He's looking good, even on the straightaways. Got enough straight line speed to glide by on the straights. Around turn 12. My right on board. Bit too far behind, I think, this time around to try and do anything. Oh, a bit of a wiggle, bit of a snap there from Al. But, ooh, Rockford's in. 60 kilometre per hour speed limit. So you do have to brake quite a lot heading into the pits. Hard tyres bolted on, away he leads. Jim Bin's in. 14 laps done on the softs. Will he put on mediums? Looks like it. Medium tyres at the ready. He's going to do a long damn stint on those tyres. Long stint. These are your race leaders, Crichton and Bell. Huey just behind these two. Fair chunk of battery. Bell, fair chunk more compared to Crichton. Crichton 65, 97 for Bell. Seb gets in front of Nick. Huey down on 14%, so he's had to use a bit of battery to try and stick with the top two, and he's only just within DRS range as well. Big Al's got Humphreys behind. Humphrey should be able to get by down the main straightaway here. Should be a fairly simple pass. Crichton going into pit lane. That's sort of what Crichton does. Goes for that undercut. Nice and steady into pit lane, making sure he doesn't speed. Here comes Humphreys down the inside. Moves through into what is third place. Of course, we're in the middle of a pit stop shuffle, so have to wait a little while, see where he ends up after his pit stop. As I've alluded to, he's going to be one character we really need to keep our eyes on. Crichton leaving the pits, and he's got clear air, I think. Look at that. Proper clear track in front of him. Surely Bell responds. Oh, a bit of a wiggle there at the exit of turn 3. Hello. Oh, Matt, huge slide, huge. Through turn 7, completely cut turn 8. Yeah, he was sideways. Had to chuck on a fair amount of opposite lock to straighten that thing out. Yeah, I'm curious, does Bell pit? Does he respond, or does he stay out for a little bit longer? He's coming in. Huey follows suit. Pull it up. Yeah, good. That's really good from Huey. That was a really, really nice pit lane entry. There we are. Here's Crichton making his way onto the main straightaway. Bell, there he is there on the inside. The undercut. Kind of work, kind of. Crichton's in front, but by the square root of bugger all. Cohen gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. His race is going from bad to worse, it seems. Huey's got company. Hello, Ekin. He wants another podium. Oh, big understeer there from Huey there at turn 7. Anywhere near the apex. Thankfully though, the car just had enough rotation after the apex to make sure he didn't run wide. That's that outside curve. Leo, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. First of the night. Leaders, what are you lot up to? So Al and Spicy stay out. Same with Oscar and Baitmate. These lads started on the hard tyre. Al and Spicy, though, running longer on their mediums as Everingham gets... Oh, Huey gets dropped by both Alpines with no DRS help. Gets passed by Rockford and Everingham. Oh, that was close. Round turn 2 into turn 3. Down to third, get back on the power. Not the best of exits, if I'm being honest. Two Alpines just drove away at the exit of 3. That car really looks like it's understeering. I missed the apex at turn 7 before. Is he just readjusting perhaps to the hard tyre? I don't know. Doesn't look like a very happy Ferrari. Crichton getting by Matt Plevy. Matt just leaving the racing line open. He doesn't want to fight this fight. Bell. Well, that won't be quite as generous. Get by quite easily here though. Down the main straightaway, Bags Liddell is down to 7th position. A few drivers in the pits getting fresh tyres on, Matt included, so he's moving on to the medium tyre. Explains why he was trying to get out of the way. Here we go. That's what traction does, folks. If you want to know how good fresh tyres can be, that's it in a nutshell. Just drive by your opponents out of the corner. Absolutely nothing your opponent can do about it too. He's got things sorted now. He's on the back of the Alpine trying to find a way through. And unable to do so far. DRS open though, heading towards turn 11. Bit of battery in his back pocket. Probably find a way by down the main straightaway, I reckon. Rockford, very much the same. Bags Liddell on 19 lap old hards as Oscar King pits. So it's not Humphreys who pits first, even though he's got track position. It's King. And this is something that Humphreys has done all the way throughout season 9. He pits way later compared to everyone else and gives himself incredibly fresh tyres for the second stint of the race, and he just pushes his way through the field. It's quite entertaining, not gonna lie. I'll be fascinated though to see if he puts himself in a position where he could try and challenge for a podium finish. Now, Nick under a little bit of pressure from Seb behind. Fairly similarly aged tyres. It's a genuine ding-dong battle for P8 on the racetrack. Zal and Spicy as well, so got a few close battles here and there up and down the order. The main one to look out for is of course between Crichton and Bell at the front of the field. There's Rockford in P5, 2 seconds behind. Onto the main straightaway, Batemate pits. So Humphreys yet to stop. Still running long on those hard tyres. Don't know if he'll stretch it so then he goes on to the softs and finish on the soft tyre. Don't know if he'll go that long. But he's going to have super fresh mediums if he pits onto those for the rest of the race. He's going to be quite fast on them. 0.4 of a second. It's quite a difference in terms of battery as well. Crichton on 25 compared to Bell on 67. Rockford down on 19%. Huey down on 8. So he spent a fair amount of battery, understandably. Seb applying pressure here. Come find a way through here at turn 9. Nice and steady from the Williams driver. Flipping the apex at turn 10. The RS open, using a bit of battery as well. To the inside, heading into turn 11. Dives it in, gets in front. Moves into P6. Clean, tidy racing from both of them. I wonder, will Ecken be able to hang on to P7 or will Nick find a way through? Nick on pressure tyres. Doesn't have the momentum, does he? Oh, okay, interesting. Actually gained enough to try and have a go at Seb. He backed off, he didn't want to have a go. Either that or Seb came across aggressively and Ecken had to slow down. Either or. Oh, Nick getting very close to the back end of that Alpine. That was very, very close through turn 3. Another 3-car train behind with Al, Salami and King. King on those mediums. Fresh mediums as well. At the moment everything's mellowed out just a little bit. Just have to look in the right area, see where all the overtakes are happening. Keep an eye on King. He is close to the back of Spicy. Not close enough to go for a move here at turn 11. much time are you losing the pace? Well, let's find out, shall we? As Bell takes the lead, Humphries is in. Humphries have what, about 5-second margin? Maybe 7-second margin? Yellows out, yellows are out. It's Fernando Cat around. That's at turn number 12. No damage on the Mercedes. Rejoined safely. Humphries rejoining now. Let's have a look at the gap to leader. Yeah, that's the wrong one, that one. 13.1 seconds is the gap between Humphries to Bell. So if anyone knows what the gap was between second place car and Humphries before the stop, add that onto the gap at the exit, you'll be able to work that out. By the way, oh, hang on, what's happened to Bell? Bell 1.5 behind. What happened here? I thought it was just a simple change in position. No, it's something else. What's happened? So Bell 1.5 behind. He's got battery in reserve to catch back up, so this isn't the end of the world. Oh, Ryan went off. Oopsie poopsie. Let me guess, exit of turn 8, I'm guessing then, if it's that outside curve. Either turn 7, turn 8, one of the right-handers. I'm guessing that's good. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it's not the end of the world for Bell. Not even close. He's got so much more battery in comparison. He'll be able to spend that up and catch up. He'll be able to spend that up. He'll catch up. So it's not over. Oh, what the hell is this? I found a horde. I found a horde of drivers. Here comes King down the inside at turn 5. Oh, he had to back out of that one. There was an opening and it was shut just like that. From Nick through turn 7. No, but he'd be pretty even, I imagine, Kebab. And plus, he can utilise DRS to save up battery again. Because we still have about 12 laps to go. 12, 11 laps to go. So, if he chooses to catch up, he'll have the opportunity to save it again and set himself up for the final stages of the race. So, he's got a backup. He's back within a second now, and look, he's still on 58%, so it's still a decent advantage. He's maybe used a teeny weeny bit, but yeah, he's caught back up. Ooh, hello, Oscar, getting by Nick, so that's for P8 at turn 1. So King on those mediums, making full use of them. Humphries is catching up as well. We got one almighty train here, folks. Gee whiz. Al gets by Eckham. King closing in on those mediums as we head around turn 7 and up towards turn 8. At the front of the train is Seb in the Williams, and it's a 5-second margin to the next car, which is Huey in P4. So, you know, it's a pretty decent size. Oh, down the inside! That's audacious! Thankfully, the Alpine saw him coming, and through goes King. That was a big old send right there. Speaking of big, Big Al moves through into P5. Overtakes Seb. Down to P6 he goes. Well, King has a new target. Oh, hello, Jack. How you doing? You're now on the back of this. And there's Bait Mate, not too far behind. Down the inside, round the final bank curve. Humphries gets in front. He's into 10th. Oscar down the inside here into turn 1. 3 wide action into Tarzan corner. Seb round the outside. Does he have the grip? No, he doesn't. Oscar moves into 5th place. Big Al in 6th. Seb 7th. Out of turn 3. Heading through these flat out bends that end the first sector. As Humphries right on the back of the train. Be trying to look for a way through. Oh, close. It's not close enough. Doesn't have a lot of battery to play with either. Dive bombing down the inside. Pulls it up. Spicy forced onto the curb. Fair fighting there between those two. Humphries moves up to 9th. DRS open. Up through the gears. Not using any battery. Might see a send. Not quite. Not quite close enough to see a send. Out of turn 12. Look at him. He's right on the back of the Alpine. Out of 13. Nice run from Humphries to the inside. Round the final corner. He moves in front. into P8. Eckham, oh, big lift there. Humphries covered the inside. Eckham has a brief look back down the inside, but decides to not go for the move. Round turn 3, hugging the inside line. Up through the gears. Seb's the next car, P7. Down to 6th gear, back on the power. Huey overtaking Rockford. Have a quick look at this. Oh, Rockford. Hello. You were off the racetrack. So Rockford's had an oopsie. Humphries made a place. He's up to P7. So Rockford down to P4. Huey promoted onto the podium. And because of that mistake, this pack closes in a little bit on that leading group. Just a little bit. Around turn 13. Humphries' next target is Big Al. Look at Humphries' straight line speed. He's got all of it. Nothing Big Al can do. Little helpful slipstream from his teammate, leaving the inside line open. Oh, little miscommunication there. Almost resulted in tragedy. The two made contact at turn 1, but thankfully, nothing too much more than that. So King hanging on to 5th. Humphries up to P6. That was close. So how's this going to be resolved between the two horses? Will Humphries try and pass King? Or will King get his head down, try and catch up to the top 4? The gap is 2.9 seconds. Liddell overtakes Leo again. Those two have been going back and forth, back and forth. As Reese Cohen pits in. Still yet to see a safety car in this race. I've got to give these guys credit. Seen a lot of battling, a bit of drama as well, but they've kept it out of the barriers, keeping it out of the grass. Really good stuff, especially around a track like this. It ain't easy. Ain't easy one bit. Alright, Humphries will get by. Eventually, there we go. So he moves into 5th, and the gap is 2.7 seconds to the car in front. That being Luke Rockford in the Alpine. Meanwhile, Crichton and Bell, our leading duo throughout the entirety of this race, are now only separated by 0.3 of a second. Crichton, 16% battery, hasn't recovered any. As a matter of fact, he spent a bit from the last time I checked. Bell, he's been able to recover to 67%, and that battery life matters. But it's not just how much you have, it's also how you use it as well. You need to know how to use your battery, and you need to time it well. Use your battery too soon, you won't have any in reserve for the critical stages right at the end of the race. Use it too late, well, you just wasted all the time saving that battery in the first place. Bell closes in, not by enough to attack though, with 6 laps to go here at Circuit Zandvoort. Meanwhile, the gap has shrunk between P3 and 4 to 3.5 of a second, and the gap has shrunk to P4 to 5. It's now 2 seconds between Rockford and Humphries, so got a couple of battles to keep an eye out for in the remaining stages of this Dutch GP. Bags with a little bit of company as well. These are for the final point scoring places, 13th, 14th and 15th. Got a battle on between, oh maybe not. Batemate should have the advantage with the tyres he's got. He's currently in P11. Spicy P10. Eka P9, followed by Seb with Big Al. Then the two Haasers, they should drive away from the pack behind, and they currently are. The gap between King and Big Al is now broken out to over a second. Oh no, sorry, it's still under a second. I'm reading the wrong number. So it's 6/10. Al needs to stay within DRS range. It's the only way to give himself any sort of chance to trying to get P6 or any other position that's better than P7. Again, Bell close, but he won't go for the move. He's trying to set up Crichton here. Crichton will know this. This is going to be a very interesting duel between these two. Bell looking for his first win of the season. Crichton looking to go back-to-back. One in Bahrain under incredibly dramatic circumstances after Bell and Humphries came together on the final lap. And once again, Bell is in a battle for the race lead. He's had to fight every time he's been at the front of the field. It's not been easy. But he's relishing the challenge quite well. He's giving himself plenty of cards to play with. Got a ton of battery life. He's got slightly better tyres. Doesn't have a fuel concern. Neither does Crichton. The only thing that Bell doesn't have is track position. That is it. That's what he's aiming to get right when the checkered flag falls. Crossing the line now, we have 4 laps to go. Bell again looks but doesn't go for it. This man will though. Rockford moves into P3, but look at this. Humphries is right behind. Oh, loses it! He throws it into the barrier! Oh, can you believe it? He was on for a potential podium. He's thrown it into the wall and we have a virtual safety car. Well, throw the battery preservation out the window. Now everyone can save up their battery. VSC deployed. Everyone will be charging up. Look at Crichton riding the brake, trying to charge up those charge up that battery as best he can with the VSC deployed. Can you believe it? Humphries throwing it away. Only a few laps to go. Drivers need to be damn careful though. You do not want to get a speeding penalty. You don't want to get a drive-through with this many laps to go. You need to keep both eyes on that damn delta. It can change on you at any time. Full charge for Ryan Bell. Crichton's back up to half charge. Again, it's a big difference, but that extra battery life could prove to be the turning point in this race. You never know. With how competitive these guys are, every percentage of battery they can get really does make a difference. Alright. Oh, who's in? Big Al's in. What? Humphries with a 3-second time penalty. Oh, he's got damage on the front wing. Green flags are out. We're back under racing conditions with 3 laps to go. 3/10 is the gap between Crichton and Bell. Bell with a full charge. Crichton, 60-odd%. That'll be enough, he says, to try and hang on to this race lead. Bell will give it everything, but so will Crichton. Going to be one hell of a game of chess between these two. DRS is going to play a factor. The battery life is going to play a factor. Here we go, down into turn 11. Clobbering over the inside curb. Round turn 12. Rockford in P3. He's got a bit of a margin to Huey now. Rockford can keep his eyes forward. Just focus. Try and hang on to that 3rd place. Bell 4/10 behind. But with DRS wide open, he's dumping the battery just a little bit. Closing the gap up to Crichton. Looking around the outside at Tarzan corner. Tries to do the over-under, but there just isn't room. Switches on the battery again. Can't get the move done. He stayed behind at turn 2. Consequence? Screw the word. He stayed behind at turn 3 as well. Man, my English has been all over the place tonight. Round the outside. This is audacious. Here at turn 7. Stays behind. Stays in P2. Round turn 9. Up to round turn 8. Up towards turn 9. The gap sits at 0.2 of a second. Now Bell, he's got to set it up, doesn't he? On this lap, heading down the main straightaway, he's got to go for it at turn 1. Round turn 11, round turn 12 for the second last time. Bell just 0.2 behind, but a poor run out of 12 costs him just a little bit. 0.4 is the gap. He's turned on the battery. So has Crichton. Here we go. The final lap, lap 36 of 36. That Red Bull's charging. to the outside, heading into turn 1. Crichton sends it in deep. They make a bit of contact through 1. Crichton loses the back end. They're wheel to wheel, heading towards turn 2. Bell round the outside. He gives himself the inside at turn 3. Crichton tries to fight round the outside. He can't do it. He's sideways. He catches it well. He dumps whatever battery he's got left, heading down this straightaway towards turn 7. Now, 6th gear, full throttle at the exit. 10th and a half, there's still a chance. With how long that final DRS zone is, there's still a chance. Crichton needs to stay with him, needs to stay on his gearbox. He has a look down the inside at turn 10, that might be it. He had a crack, but that's cost him way too much time. I thought he'd set up a move right at the end there. He's not going to go for it though. He went for it way earlier. That might be it. I think that is it. Bell's got a big enough margin in hand to keep Crichton at bay. Round the final corner for the final time. For the first time this season, Ryan Bell will win. Takes victory here in Zandvoort. What a terrific drive from these two. At the end of the day, Bell just had the resources and he timed his overtake perfectly. Crichton did what he could. I don't think he timed that counter attack well enough though. I think he should have waited right to the end of the lap. That DRS zone at the end of the lap is long. By the way, finishing P3, it's Huey in the Ferrari, his first podium of the season, so well done to him. But Ryan Bell, finally, he's done it. He's put together back-to-back strong performances at Austria and at Bahrain, and finally he's been rewarded with victory here at Circuit Zandvoort. So well done, Mr. Bell. Crichton P2, Huey P3, Rockford, then Oscar King rounding out the top 5. Then we have Seb, Eckham, Spicy, GeForce Nick, and I believe behind them, we'll run through the order once we get through the podium celebrations. But here we are, podium celebrations. Well, certainly another tight race in Pacific Tier 1. 3 on the trot. Been fantastic to watch. This time around, though, it's Ryan Bell who takes victory. GeForce Crichton home in second. Third place to Huey in the Ferrari. So, the unofficial results then of the Dutch GP. Ryan Bell is your race winner. GeForce Crichton home in second. 8 tenths behind at the flag. We have Huey P3, Rockford P4, Oscar P5, Seb P6, followed by Eckham in 7th. Spicy in 8th, Nick 9th, and Baitmate rounds out the top 10. Big Al P11, followed by Bags in 12th. He got driver of the day after starting from 18th. Made up 6 positions, a solid race from him. RBR P13, followed by Jinbin, then GeForce Leo. Humphreys down in P16, not the race he was looking for tonight. Matt Plevy in P17, Fernando in P18, Reese Cohen in 19th position. That means every single driver who started this race finished it. Probably one of the most technical circuits on the calendar. We had everyone finish. Not a bad effort, to be completely fair. Oh, dearie me. Another day, another race that was unfortunately interrupted by this ruddy game. Not fun. But we got through it, and then we ended up getting a pretty okay race. I think for Zandvoort standards, you got to have them set pretty low. You're not going to see a lot of side-by-side racing. What you are going to see, though, is drama. Didn't have a whole heap of it. Well, you had some at very, very crucial moments, especially what happened to Jack Humphreys during the final stages of that race, bringing out the VSC. really changed the complexion of what was going on out in front, but ultimately Ryan Bell was able to put it together when it mattered, and he ends up taking the win. And I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. We actually have a break week next week, which is great, because now we can try out this update and make sure all the connection stuff is working as it should be, because past couple of races connection has been a big talking point, and it's been a major issue for all of us to deal with. So hopefully with the new update that will be fixed. But yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for round 4 of the championship, the first sprint round of the championship as well, at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, the home of the Belgian Grand Prix. Should be a lot of fun. Until then, it's goodbye.